Hey everybody, it's Chase with AV Pop Culture again, and today we are back with one of my biggest and most controversial lists I have ever done, and that's because today we are ranking and counting down the top 10 best 80s action movies of all time. So pop that tape in, I got you, let's go do this. All right, so 80s action movies, the 10 best. It is time to kick, fight, and punch their way to supremacy. Who is going to be number one? Who is even going to make the list? The 80s were undoubtedly one of the best, if not the best time for action movies in the history of cinema. I would argue that 80s movies, that the 1980s overall, is probably the best decade from beginning to end for movies, iconic movies of all genres, actions, comedies, horror, all of it. It has stood the test of time. That makes this list in this category almost impossible, but we are gonna do it. We're gonna channel our inner Arnold, our inner Stallone, and our inner Van Damme, and we are going to fight our way through a top 10, and we are going to start at number 10 with a movie starring someone who you don't think of as an action hero, but I'm going to tell you, this film is iconic, and 1984's Beverly Hills Cop deserves its place. So yes, Beverly Hills Cop coming in at number 10. This was Eddie Murphy's first big role. The story is he actually turned down what would have been a much bigger Winston Zeddemore role in Ghostbusters in order to star in Beverly Hills Cop. Now, I don't think he went wrong either way, but this has spawned a franchise that is still making movies today, albeit stuck on Netflix. But this has it all. It has comedy because you got Eddie Murphy in there. It has great action. I mean, they make it believable. Eddie Murphy gets his ass kicked more than once in this movie, gets thrown through a window. I mean, you know, it is just full of great one-liners, great sight gags. It is very, very 80s Hollywood. I love he's walking through the streets of Hollywood. He sees the guys dressed as Michael Jackson in their jackets. But it has great, just old school cops and robbers shootouts, stunt pieces at the beginning, where he's back in Detroit. This movie checks every single box. The second one is great too. The second one was done by Tony Scott and has that certain Tony Scott style. But you got to go with the one that started it all. I will make my argument that Beverly Hills Cop deserves to be on this list. It comes in at number 10. Now, number 9 on this list is another one that's just an absolutely iconic. You're probably going to hear me say that word because the 80s were just filled with iconic films, iconic stars that have stood the test of time. And iconic means something different than all-time great or anything like that. Any other word, any other adjective you want to use. Sometimes it's just there because it is the word that encapsulates it all. And coming in at number 9 is definitely an iconic film. It is the aforementioned Tony Scott's 1986 classic, Top Gun. Now you have Tom Cruise in here. You got Anthony Edwards. You got a young Meg Ryan in here. You got Kelly McGillis, who was not as young as the rest. And of course, you have the late Val Kilmer playing the great role of Iceman. When I think of Val Kilmer, I think of Doc Holliday and I think of Iceman. I 100% do. You still have, up just a couple years ago, you have Tom Cruise playing Maverick. One of the best 80s throwback action movies in a while is Top Gun Maverick. But this one, you know, Goose and Maverick, you got Tim Robbins making an appearance in this movie. You got Tom Skerritt in this movie. You got Michael Ironside in this movie. The way that they filmed this revolutionized filmmaking. This is the first film that really utilized a super 35 millimeter camera where they could shove it into the cockpit of these real planes. Of course, you have the score, which is iconic. You have Danger Zone. You got Kenny Loggins rocking so much from the 80s. I would argue against anyone who says that Top Gun does not belong on the list of top 10 80s action movies. It's maybe not as true constant action, and it's a different type of action and all that kind of stuff, but it belongs here. It is filled with that style that we know from Tony Scott. You gotta love it. Top Gun, still one of my favorites today. It comes in at number 9. Now, at number 8 on the list, where would you be without some good B movie, just old school B movie action from the 80s? I don't think I'll get any pushback on this one. I think maybe the pushback I'll get is having it this low, but I absolutely love, you cannot deny, 1989's Roadhouse, starring Patrick Swayze. Of course, any chance that I get to show off this amazing Vinegar Syndrome 4K VSU, I am going to do it. I'm a sucker for neon. Everything about this movie screams 80s. You got Sam Elliott. You got Terry Funk. Of course, you have Swayze playing Dalton. He gets brought into the Double Deuce. He is the cooler. He leads the team of bouncers to try to clean up the place and ends up going to battle with a rich guy who is just trying to use his power that he's gained to control and manipulate the people of the town to grow richer and increase his power. So it explodes up from just clean up this bar to taking on a huge bad guy and overwhelming odds, and the stakes get ridiculous high because it is just badass 80s B movie action. One of the best there is. You cannot leave Roadhouse off the list of top 10 best 80s action movies. Absolutely iconic. Get all the sleep I need when I'm dead, Doc. Roadhouse, 1989, comes in at number 8. Now, number 7 on the list is one that I struggled to put this low. I mean, when you get up here with these movies in the 80s, in the top 10, it's tough. You're splitting hairs. I'm going with the first one in this series, the iconic Richard Donner film, 1987, Mel Gibson starring as the Lethal Weapon. In case you didn't know, yes, Mel Gibson is supposed to be the actual Lethal Weapon in the movie. He is the instrument of destruction. This movie is so good. Christmas movie, maybe. Of course, it helped launch Mel Gibson even higher. You know, he has the Mad Max. He has all that stuff going on. But this role as Martin Riggs in here, this is buddy comedy or buddy cop comedy mixed in to just great action, great fighting, great like kind of cops and robbers stuff. The ending fight in this movie as Mel Gibson, who lost his wife in the movie, he's ready to end it all. He's got PTSD from Vietnam, all those kind of things. He's depressed. He's ready to just be out of here. And he becomes basically family with Murtaugh and his family. And it gives him a reason to go on. So does catching these bad guys. And he is absolutely crazy, plays the part to perfection. The action in this movie, like I said, the fight at the end with him and Mr. Joshua, a.k.a. Gary Busey, absolute awesome fighting in there. Gets him in like the triangle choke kind of situation. Just an iconic film. And the word is there's one more coming. There's already 4. You can't have an 80s action movie list without Lethal Weapon. I absolutely love it. It comes in at number 7. Now, at number 6 on the list is Rambo, but not actually Rambo. This is 1985's Commando. And I say that it's Rambo because it's kind of Arnold Schwarzenegger's Rambo in 1985. And when you talk about just straight up action movie for what 80s action movies are, it's Commando all the way. I mean, the iconic scene of him getting ready and putting on war paint, the one-line puns, the crazy, ridiculous action, throwing security guards this way and that in the mall, which is actually a mall in California that I've been to a bunch of times, which is pretty cool. But this movie, he's dead tired. I mean, this is where you really play into the Arnold one-liners, the action. Hey, remember when I said I would kill you last? I lied. The action, the explosion, the just nonsense, over-the-top nature, gunfighting, fist fighting. Just let off some steam, Bennett, and admit that Commando deserves to be this high. You can make an argument it could be higher because quintessential, just turn your brain off and rock out on some badass 80s action. Watch Schwarzenegger just take care of the job, throwing guys this way and that. He jumps out of a plane that is moving, a commercial airliner. Absolutely crazy, dusts himself off like nothing. That's what you're getting into with Commando. Definitely deserves to be on this list. It comes in at number 6. Now, at number 5 on this list, we said Rambo. How about actual Rambo, as in First Blood from 1982? Now, this movie it shows some real dramatic acting in this film. But of course, this is Stallone starring as John Rambo, a Vietnam soldier, Special Forces, Green Beret, all that kind of stuff, who's back from Vietnam. This was based on a novel. He's dealing with PTSD as well. We didn't really know what to call it at that time. He's traveling, trying to find members of his unit, and he goes into this small town, and the sheriff there, played by Bryant Dennehy, he's not having it. He wants him out of the town. He mistreats him, and really, really mistreats him, and then his guys really mistreat him further in the police station, and it triggers flashbacks, and he basically goes into war mode and becomes a one-man war against this city, then county, then state police, and it becomes a survival thing. The hunter becomes the hunted, but then it deals with like some serious elements at the end, and one of the best scenes in Stallone's life, I think, is in this movie. But this launched Rambo into more and more films, and it is an absolute icon of 80s action cinema based on a novel. Great film. You got Richard Crenna in here too. Really well acted. This movie is incredible. The 4K is one of the best that you can see. It still holds up today in every single way. Absolute great action film from 1982. First Blood has to be on the list. It comes in at number 5. Now, number 4 on the list is one that's going to take us on a little bit more of an adventure, and I might get pushback for having this on the list, and I might get pushback for having it this high. I might get pushback for having this particular one and not a different one. But I think this one just encapsulates the 80s action, the fun, the adventure, all of that with some of the biggest action set pieces in this franchise. My favorite, 1989's Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. Now, this whole series was set up to reflect old action serials from back in the day. So it is 100% action, despite that it has a lot of adventure. There are extremely long action sequences in this film that are just incredible. You have to look at something as simple as where he is fighting someone on a boat, multiple people on a boat. There are guns going off, all that kind of stuff. There's a gun or a boat slowly getting chopped up by a propeller as a fight is going on. These are huge action set pieces. It starts off with a whole train sequence and a horse sequence where River Phoenix, playing a young Indiana Jones, is on top of a train. There are huge action sequences in this movie. Then when he goes to rescue his father, there's a plane action sequence. There are cars. There are explosions. There are tanks. Just tons of action sequences in this film. Just massive set pieces on a grand scale. And most of this action is the action's done practically. You're not doing CGI like you might today. Now, they might use second unit. Some of it might not be Harrison Ford, but he did a lot himself. And then you throw in Sean Connery in this one and the epic quest for the Grail. I'm just absolutely one of the best films ever made. And it has to be one of the best action films, regardless of period of time. I don't care if it's 70s, 80s, 90s. I don't care where it is. So it has to be. You could say Raiders should be higher. This actually, in my opinion, has more action set pieces and is more of an action film even than Raiders of the Lost Ark by a good portion, in my opinion. So Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, my favorite Indiana Jones film. Harrison Ford, my favorite actor. One of the best action films of all time. And for the 80s, it shows you how competitive the 80s is. It comes in at number 4. Now we are at the top 3, and I'm going to tell you the top 3. I rearranged the order of multiple times, and I finally settled on this. Coming in at number 3, just because it's slightly more known as sci-fi, sliding into horror just a little bit, is 1984's The Terminator. It's one of my favorite movies ever made. It's one of the best action, sci-fi, horror movies ever made. Arnold's absolute breakout role, you could argue Conan. Conan's a great action movie, though more of a sword and sandal epic kind of with action. This movie is just second to none right here. You have Arnold Schwarzenegger playing a machine and playing a machine perfectly, who is stalking Sarah Connor. He's come back in time. You know the story. He wants to wipe her out before John Connor can be born. He can't be reasoned with. He's hard to fight. All those things. You've got 80s blue lightning. You have some great practical effects that were done with this, as he is a cyborg, basically a cybernetic organism. This movie is just absolutely incredible. Let's hope that AI never gets to the point where we've got to fight Skynet. But The Terminator, what can I tell you about this movie that you don't know? Arnold kicks ass through this. Even though he's the bad guy, you can't help cheering for him. And then the other people, you're like, it's like the other people. You've got Linda Hamilton, you've got Michael Biehn in here playing the good guys, and Arnold was actually supposed to play the Michael Bihn's character to start with, but he ended up, James Cameron sold him on being the Terminator, and the rest is history. I'll be back. One of the greatest one-liners in action movie history. You can fight me about where it's got to be ranked, but you cannot fight me that the Terminator has to be on the list of the top 10 80s action movies of all time. For me, at least in this moment, it comes in at number 3. Now, at number 2 on the list is one that could be easily number 1, and it's one of my favorite movies to watch around Christmas time. I am talking, of course, about 1988's Die Hard. Now, this is John McTiernan, who I love as a director. Very underrated. John McTiernan knew his action stuff, and he did an amazing job with Die Hard, turning Bruce Willis into an action star. And every man turned into an action star. Of course, he gets into his wife's Christmas party at Nakatomi Plaza. There's a party there, and you have one of the greatest bad guys ever, Alan Rickman, in here playing Hans Gruber. They're trying to take over, not because they're actually terrorists, but they are just really thieves. They're exceptional thieves. And he literally has to go as a one-man army and survive and take these guys out in order to save everyone at this Christmas party. The amount that he goes through, he's just, and you're wore out with him at the end of the movie. But it's very believable how it's done, and turning an everyman into an action hero in the moment just made people stand up and cheer. You didn't really see that to that level at that point in time. And it's just something that was so super cool, became so iconic, and iconic to the point that it became synonymous for other action movies going forward. Oh, well, it's Die Hard on a plane, Air Force One. Oh, well, it's Die Hard on a bus, Speed. It's Die Hard on a boat, whatever. It was a Die Hard this because it became that synonymous with great action movies and the style in which they were done. Die Hard, incredible. I never get tired of watching it. None of these, as a matter of fact. But Die Hard, it has to be. It could be number one. Like I said, this top three, I fought with myself. But for right now, Die Hard comes in at number 2. That just leaves one. Coming in at number 1, what I consider to be the perfect, absolute perfect action film of all time, of any decade, but of the 80s, where you have to fight for your right to party if you want to be considered to be one of the best action films. Number 1 all time, another John McTiernan film. Dude is amazing, in my opinion. For me, there is no question. It is 1987's The Predator. This is one of my favorite films of all time, regardless of genre. But this is as close to a perfect film as you're going to get, particularly for this genre. You have Arnold flexing his muscle, but not just that. You have a tight script. You have a group of just Billy badasses out there in the jungle. Warfare, big guns, big monster who's kicking people's ass, great monster design, all kinds of stuff. You've got the military aspect, the war aspect, great different characters, great music in this thing. All of it, great iconic one-liners, scenes in the movie. They're done. The scene where Arnold jumps way from up high into the water, really him doing it. And it just oozes 80s action badassery. These guys, when they got off set at night, they were going back and eating steak and protein shakes and working out so they could measure their biceps against each other during the day. There is no part of this that is not badass 80s action. But then you throw in a script that's tight, that's intriguing, that's scary, an unbeatable almost foe that has new kinds of elements to him that you haven't really seen in another action movie. Yes, it leans a little sci-fi, it leans a little horror, but at its core, it is the most badass action film ever captured on celluloid. This movie is one of the best of all time. The Predator, you can't argue, like the iconic moments, the handshakes, all the handshake with him, Arnold Schwarzenegger and Carl Weathers, absolutely an iconic thing. Just, I know I'm using that word, but there is no other word to encapsulate all that the Predator is. I love this film. It is the standard for me by how all other action films are judged. The Predator comes in at number 1 of the best all-time 80s action movies, and that is my list. Let the fighting, the hand-wringing, the arguing begin, because I know I had to fight with myself. First, just to get it to 10, then to arrange the 10 in the proper order. There's so much I had to leave out. I can look around and see 20 other movies that I want to shove in here. But if you're cutting it to the 10, this is the 10 that I am rolling with. And I dare you to tell me one of these shouldn't be on this list, because I know there's somebody out there that's going to argue, but you better be able to defend it. because these are incredible films and you have to absolutely love them. I'm a child of the 80s. I was there. I saw these in the theater and it was badass. What a time to be alive. And that's what I got for you this time. If you've enjoyed this, please like and subscribe. We do all kinds of stuff here. I'm a working filmmaker. I'm a huge film fan. I do it all: 4K reviews, physical media news, huge lists, rankings, all that kind of stuff, because I love it all and I love sharing it with you. If that sounds like something that you'd be interested in hanging around, being a part of, like and subscribe, ring the bell so you don't miss anything. If you want to support what I'm doing here, you can join at my YouTube link and become a channel member, or I'd steer you towards my Patreon. You can join there and I can just do a lot more there, uncensored videos, behind the scenes looks at my filmmaking, special members only videos, and so much more. And of course, no matter what, you're going to get your name in lights on every single video to show that support that I really do appreciate. And it all helps out the channel, and I thank you very much. And until next time, be kind, rewind like always. This is Chase with AV Pop Culture, and I'll see you real soon. Bye-bye. Dylan, you son of a bitch.